Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. A bedtime story. Once upon a time, in a peaceful kingdom far away, there lived a kind and gentle princess named Snow White. She had skin as white as snow, lips as red as roses, and hair as black as the night sky. Everyone who met her loved her sweet smile and kind heart. But Snow White lived with her stepmother, the Queen. The Queen was very beautiful, but not very kind. She had a magical mirror that she asked every day. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" For many years the mirror answered, "You, my queen, are the fairest of them all." But one day the mirror said something different. "Snow White is the fairest of them all." The queen was not happy. She became angry and jealous. She didn't want anyone to be more beautiful than her. So she made a mean plan. She told her huntsman, "Take Snow White into the forest and don't bring her back." The huntsman took Snow White deep into the woods. But when he looked into her kind eyes, his heart felt sad. "Run," he whispered. "Run far away and don't ever come back." Snow White ran through the trees, over roots and leaves, until she found a little cottage hidden among the trees. Inside, everything was tiny. Tiny chairs, tiny dishes, and 7 tiny beds. Snow White was so tired that she curled up across the beds and fell fast asleep. Later that evening, the owners of the cottage returned. They were 7 dwarfs who worked in the mountains finding sparkly gems. They tiptoed inside. "Who's that?" whispered Bashful. "She looks nice," said Happy. "She must be tired," said Duck. When Snow White woke up, the dwarfs smiled. She told them her story, and the dwarfs listened kindly. "You can stay with us," said Grumpy, who wasn't really so grumpy anymore. "But be careful," said Wise. "The queen might still be looking for you." Snow White stayed and helped them cook, clean and laugh. They all became one big, happy family. But back at the castle, the queen asked her mirror again. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror replied, "Snow White, who lives with the 7 dwarfs, is the fairest of them all." The queen was furious. She made a wicked spell and disguised herself as an old woman. She held a shiny red apple filled with deep, deep magic. She went to the dwarf's cottage and knocked on the door. "Would you like a sweet apple, dear?" she asked kindly. Snow White took a small bite and fell to the floor. The queen cackled and disappeared into the forest. When the dwarfs came home, they found Snow White still and silent. Their hearts broke. They gently laid her in a glass case and placed her deep in the woods, surrounded by flowers. They stayed near her, always hoping she would wake. Then, one quiet day, a prince came riding through the trees. He had heard of Snow White's kindness and beauty. When he saw her, he felt a tear in his heart. He knelt beside her and softly kissed her forehead. And just like magic, Snow White opened her eyes. The dwarfs danced and cheered. Snow White smiled at the prince and at the dear friends who had cared for her. "Come with me," the prince said. "You'll be safe and happy in my kingdom." Snow White gave each dwarf a big hug. "I'll never forget you," she said, with happy tears. And so, Snow White went to live in the prince's castle. She was safe, loved, and full of joy. But she always returned to visit the 7 dwarfs, her very first true friends. As for the queen, her dark magic faded, and she was never seen again. And Snow White lived happily ever after, knowing that kindness, courage, and friendship are the most magical things of all. The end. Twilight sleep. Tight, little dreamer. 6.